What if becoming a millionaire in 2025 had nothing to do with your job, education, or connections, but everything to do with what you believe to be true right now? Well, this isn't motivational hype. This is reality-shifting truth. In this powerful speech, inspired by the teachings of inner assumption and divine imagination, discover how to become rich in consciousness and watch your world transform. If you want to be a multimillionaire in 2025, start here. The great error that keeps most men and women bound to poverty is this: they do not realize that wanting wealth is the very act that keeps it at a distance. Desire, in its common usage, implies separation from its object. To say, "I want money," is to admit, "I do not have money." And since the creative power within you responds only to what you accept as true, you inevitably reinforce the absence rather than the presence of riches. That is why you must not desire to be rich. You must assume the state of already being rich, here and now. This is not arrogance. It is spiritual alignment with the truth that consciousness is the only reality. The outer world, with its ledgers and balance sheets, may tell you you are poor, but that world is only a reflection of the inner state you have been persistently dwelling in. If you continue to accept poverty in consciousness, no change in circumstance can rescue you. But if you dare, and it does take daring, to look past the facts and instead claim the wealth that is yours in spirit, then the entire universe must reconfigure itself to reflect that new inner conviction. You must dare to say, "I am a multimillionaire," and let that statement become your inner dwelling place, even if at this very moment you are counting pennies. What prevents most from doing this is the tyranny of the senses. They believe what they see, and so their seeing becomes their prison. They open their banking app and see lack. They look around their apartment and see limitation, and yet they fail to understand that what they see is but a projection of what they previously assumed. To break free of this cycle, one must become blind to fact and loyal to feeling. It is the feeling of wealth, not the proof of it, that ushers it into form. To assume wealth is to rest in the state of having, regardless of appearances. Now let us speak of assumption, not as a technique, but as a law. To assume is to take for granted that something is so. When you assume wealth, you are not pretending. You are not playing a game of fantasy. You are planting a seed in the creative soil of consciousness. And just as surely as an acorn becomes an oak, that inner conviction, if persisted in, must bloom in the outer world. This is not metaphysical poetry, it is spiritual science. The inner world causes the outer. Always. The key, therefore, is identity. Who are you in consciousness? That is the only question that matters. Are you a man hoping for better days? Or are you a man who knows he already walks in abundance? The latter will draw to himself all that he needs: money, opportunity, favor, not by effort, but by assumption. Life is a mirror, and it cannot reflect back to you something you do not first behold within yourself. So stop trying to become rich. You will never arrive at a state you do not occupy now. Instead, be rich in thought, in imagination, in feeling, and that state will externalize itself in time. This process is not achieved through toil, but through inner discipline. You must monitor your thoughts, not with fear, but with reverence. You must notice when you slip into the old identity, the one who lacks, who worries, who doubts, and gently shift back into your rightful place. There is no need to struggle. The mere act of re-entering the state of, "I am a multimillionaire," is enough. You don't beg, you don't chase, you simply assume. And that assumption becomes the vibration of your being. Others may not see it yet, but they will feel it. Circumstances will begin to mold themselves to suit it. Let us go further. Suppose you are invited to a lavish dinner. You have little in your account, but you dress well, speak well, carry yourself with the composure of someone who belongs. You are not deceiving others. You are aligning your outer world with your inner assumption. And the world respects the man who respects himself. It cannot do otherwise. Wealth is not attracted to desperation. It is drawn to the serene confidence of one who already possesses it within. When you walk down the street, do you walk as one in lack or one in overflow? When you eat, do you eat as a pauper or as a king? Every act, every gesture, every breath becomes an opportunity to declare who you are in spirit. This is what it means to assume wealth, not merely to speak it, but to live from it, in tone, in thought, in feeling. To want is to delay. To assume is to possess. And when you possess in consciousness, you have already created the condition. The world is secondary. It will conform, but it will never lead. You lead with your inner state. So choose today not to want riches, but to walk as one who already owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and in time, the hills will come to you. Feeling is the secret bridge between the invisible and the visible. The world you see with your senses is not ultimate. It is not causative. It is a result, a shadow, cast by the light of your inner conviction. And the medium through which that inner light is translated into experience is feeling. Without feeling, imagination remains sterile. Without feeling, your assumptions do not take root. But once feeling is impregnated with belief, it becomes a creative act that no power on earth can stop from fulfillment. You must understand this clearly. Your senses report what was, not what is coming. They are historians, not prophets. To be ruled by fact is to be imprisoned by memory, but to be ruled by feeling, divine, assumed, present tense feeling, is to be governed by faith. And faith, not sight, is the substance of things hoped for. If you continue to seek external signs before you allow yourself to feel rich, you will remain trapped in a cycle of waiting. But if you can dare to feel now what the world tells you you must earn or deserve later, you will short-circuit time and collapse the distance between your desire and its expression. I recall nights when I had no tangible reason to feel joyful or secure. My rent was unpaid, my future uncertain, yet I chose to feel the quiet ease of a man whose fortune was already made. I imagined, not with effort, but with surrender. I yielded to the feeling of already being provided for. And I tell you, from that invisible shift, everything changed. Unexpected opportunities emerged. People I had never met became channels for provision, but all of that was secondary. The real act was within me. I had shifted from fact to feeling, from fear to fulfillment. Now consider this. The world teaches you to be reasonable, to believe only what you can see and touch, but the creative power within you does not operate by reason. It is not interested in logic or probability. It responds only to feeling, specifically the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you can persist in that state without needing physical confirmation, then you have found the key to all transformation. You need not convince anyone, beg anyone, or explain yourself to anyone. You need only dwell in the mood of your accomplished desire, and the world will shape itself around your inner world. Let us take an example. Suppose you wish to be financially free. You need not concern yourself with how that freedom will come. The channels are infinite. Your task is singular. Assume the feeling of already being free. What would you wear? How would you move? What would you think when a bill arrives? Anxiety or nonchalance? What feeling would possess you as you walk into a store or speak with others? That feeling, that inner atmosphere must become your home. Live in it now, not in some distant future, not after a promotion or a breakthrough, now. Do not wait to feel successful. Do not wait to feel chosen. Do not wait to feel wealthy. Feel it now and the world will follow your lead. The senses are followers, not leaders. They echo what you have already declared in the secret place of your soul. This is why feeling is superior to fact. Feeling does not deny the facts. It transcends them. It is not delusion. It is creation. When you permit yourself to feel rich, even when your pockets are empty, you are not lying to yourself. You are telling a deeper truth than the facts can ever reveal. You are aligning with the reality that consciousness creates form, not the reverse. This truth is not for the timid. It requires you to stand in the midst of contradiction and choose your inner knowing over outer evidence. And yet when you do, you become a magnet for the very condition you have inwardly claimed. Your body responds to this shift. Your mind, your voice, your posture, all begin to reflect your assumption. And as you embody the feeling, your subconscious accepts it as your truth. Then the world, being a mirror, begins to comply. This is why you must guard your mood. Feeling is not a momentary spark. It is a sustained atmosphere. If you would make a claim upon the universe, you must dwell in the tone of that claim. The feeling must not come and go like a passing emotion. It must become your inner state. When doubt arises, and it will, return gently to the feeling. Do not struggle, do not force. Simply remember who you are in imagination and feel accordingly. You may do this dozens of times a day. Each time you return, you re-establish the creative cause. You reaffirm your authorship. And slowly, invisibly but surely, your world begins to bend toward your inner assumption. To change your life, change your feeling. Let the mood of your desired reality become the substance of your present. Let your nights be filled with the feeling of abundance. Let your mornings be shaped by gratitude for what is already yours in spirit. And let the outer world become what it must, a perfect reflection of the man or woman who dared to let feeling replace fact. There is no more powerful doorway into the subconscious than the final moments before sleep. It is in this sacred threshold, when consciousness begins to withdraw and the veil between the seen and the unseen is thinnest, that you plant the seeds of your reality. Whatever mood, assumption, or inner state you take with you into the sleep state is impressed deeply upon the subconscious mind. And the subconscious, being faithful, must reproduce in outer form whatever it accepts as true. If you wish to manifest wealth, and not just in concept, but in living, breathing experience, then you must begin to fall asleep as the millionaire you desire to be. This is not a mental exercise in imagination alone. It is the deliberate construction of identity. Each night, as you lay your body down, you are given the most divine opportunity to revise your inner world, to align your spirit with your ideal, and to clothe yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The key is not words, nor is it struggle. The key is feeling. Feeling is the language of the subconscious. If you go to sleep worried about bills, about lack, about the limitations of your current situation, then you are impressing upon the infinite a continuation of that very state. But if you can, with gentleness and certainty, sink into the mood of abundance, if you can fall asleep not asking for wealth, but possessing it, then you set in motion the cause of its appearance. You must see the sleep state not as escape, but as a portal. The body may rest, but the creative power within you does not sleep. It is always receiving, always responding, always shaping reality according to the images and feelings you present to it. And so, just as a wise farmer chooses the finest seed to plant in fertile ground, you must choose the richest emotional seed to plant in your inner world as you fall into slumber. Select wealth, select freedom, select the calm joy of one who already has. You need not visualize with strain. A simple imaginal scene, repeated night after night, is enough to build a bridge of events. It may be the weight of a heavy bank card in your hand, the sound of your name being called in a luxury setting, or the feeling of comfort as you drift off in silk sheets within your dream home. Whatever the scene, it must feel natural, not extraordinary but normal. For the moment the feeling becomes ordinary to you, it becomes believable. And what is believed with feeling must become fact. The law does not fail. What fails is man's persistence. He tries for a few nights, then returns to his old identity. He plants one seed, then digs it up to check its growth. He says, I am wealthy, but feels still the tension of poverty. And so the harvest is barren. But the one who understands the sleep state persists, not in effort, but in identity. He closes his eyes and rests in the version of himself that already exists in imagination. He merges with that self, he becomes it, and in that act of inner union, creation begins. Do not be deceived by appearances. The mind may tell you this is foolish, the senses may mock you with their evidence, but you are not bound by fact. You are bound only by what you accept. If you can fall asleep every night assuming that you are already a multimillionaire, not hoping, not begging, but knowing, then the outer world, being a reflection, will bring you confirmation. It cannot help itself. The mirror does not judge, it only reflects. Night after night, as I laid my head upon the pillow, I entered not into sleep, but into my future. I walked through corridors of imagined places. I signed papers I had never yet seen. I spoke with those who did not yet know me, and I allowed the feeling of wealth, of quiet, noble wealth, to saturate my soul. I did not do this with tension or repetition. I did it with surrender. And when I awoke, though the outer world was slow to move, I was unmoved by it, for I had already received. This is the key, to receive before it appears, to know before you see, to rest in the unseen and call it done. When you understand this, sleep becomes your greatest ally. You will look forward to the night, not for its rest, but for its creative power. You will see each bedtime as an altar, each dream as a signal, each waking as a slow unveiling of what you have already claimed. Let others work through strategy and effort. Let them chase and exhaust themselves in the outer world. But you who know the truth, you will build your empire in the silence of your room, with nothing but your imagination and your willingness to feel what is not yet visible. And the world, obedient to law, will shape itself to your dream. There is only one true currency in this world, and it is not gold, nor is it the dollar, nor is it any visible or digital form of exchange. The only currency that truly buys anything, be it wealth, relationships, health, or position, is imagination. Every condition you now experience was purchased with the coin of your inner world. What you assumed, what you accepted, what you persisted in mentally and emotionally, these were the payments made to the subconscious mind. And the results you now call reality are the things you've bought with your belief. Man has been taught to labor for bread, to strive for success, to chase influence and opportunity. But he has not been taught to claim it from within first. He trusts in effort, but not in inner power. He uses his hands more than his mind. And so, even when he gains, it slips through his fingers, for the root was not established in the unseen. When you understand that imagination is the only real substance, the only creative force, the only living cause, then you will begin to revalue your priorities. You will understand that 5 minutes of controlled, intentional, imaginative living is worth more than 5 years of outer toil. To say imagination is currency is to say it has purchasing power. When you imagine clearly and couple that imagination with feeling, you are quite literally buying your future. It is not metaphorical, it is law. The world is simply the extended form of man's inner conversations, assumptions, and images. If a man consistently imagines lack, struggle, and effort, then no matter how much physical currency he gathers, his world will reflect limitation. But if a man imagines ease, opulence, and success as already his, then the avenues by which these things arrive will multiply without his conscious planning. There is nothing you now possess that did not first exist in your imagination, either as a conscious choice or an unconscious belief. Your very identity, your habits, your associations, and your bank balance are all the harvest of imaginal activity. You may believe you acquired these things through the world, but the world only gave you what your inner state permitted. This is why some can work hard and stay broke, while others appear to attract wealth without struggle. The difference is not luck. It is inner atmosphere. One pays with sweat, the other pays with belief. You may sit in a single room, with no means of travel, no network, and no apparent opportunity, and yet command wealth, honor, and transformation, simply by learning to imagine correctly. Correct imagination is not fantasy. It is not idle dreaming. It is the purposeful selection of that which you desire, entered into with conviction and persisted in with joy. You must not only see the scene, but feel the reality of it. Not that it will happen, but that it already has. There is a sacred power in knowing that the outer world is a shadow. It liberates you. It removes the illusion of hierarchy, chance, or inequality. You realize you do not need approval, endorsement, or a perfect past. You need only imagination. Imagination levels the playing field because it is equally available to all. The beggar and the banker both possess it. The child and the elder, the rich and the poor, all have the key, but few know how to turn it.
To use imagination as your currency, you must invest it wisely. Do not spend your thoughts on worry, gossip, or appearances. Do not purchase fear with your attention. Choose instead to invest in the unseen riches of your heart. Take time each day to withdraw from the senses and enter into the reality of your fulfilled desire. Speak as though it is done. Move as though it is true. Let your inner dialogue reflect abundance, not desperation. And let every image you entertain be one that honors your ideal, not your history.
When you pass a store, imagine owning it. When you see a beautiful home, imagine living in it. When you hear of great wealth, do not shrink with jealousy. Expand with acceptance. Say to yourself, I imagine this, and therefore it is mine. Not in arrogance, but in alignment. The outer is not to be envied. It is to be understood. What you see around you is proof that someone, somewhere, imagined it first.
The great treasure of this knowledge is that it returns power to the individual. You no longer wait. You no longer beg. You no longer hope. You simply imagine, and by imagining, you possess. The world may not recognize the transaction immediately. It may not hand you the goods the next morning, but the process is in motion. Once you have assumed this state with feeling, the wheels begin to turn. Doors open. People appear. Circumstances shift, but all of it began with you in silence, in solitude, in sovereignty. So begin tonight. Sit in the quiet and spend the only currency that matters. Invest in your dream, purchase your future with vision, and do not be dismayed by the delay, for delay is only the echo catching up to your voice. You have spoken the word. In imagination, it must be fulfilled. You are not here to chase money. You are not here to hope the world one day notices your worth. You are here to know. You are here to assume the highest within yourself and to let the world echo that decision. All wealth, all success, all power, it begins and ends in the secret place of your own being. To say, I am a multimillionaire, is not a fantasy if it is claimed in spirit, with feeling, and without doubt. Let go of your senses. They only report the past. Let go of your effort. It only reflects belief in separation. Enter instead into the inner country, where all things are possible and already prepared. There you must assume the state of wealth now, not as a hope, but as a fact. Feel it, live in it, sleep in it, speak from it, and persist until the outer world mirrors your inner command. Imagination is the only creative force you will ever need. It is the original currency. It is the substance of things not yet seen, but fully real. Invest in it, practice it. Let every thought become a brick in the house of your becoming. Let your nights be sacred acts of creation. Let your waking hours be saturated with silent knowing. You do not need to become rich. You only need to stop pretending you are not. The riches you seek already exist. Not in banks, but in being. The only question is, will you dare to claim them within? For if you do, with feeling, persistence, and trust, the world will make way for the one who no longer waits. So begin now and say in your heart, I am already everything I desire to be. And watch the world bow to your belief.